old age means you have to take medicines. Old age means you have to visit doctors. And it is very possible that you spend time in hospitals. I genuinely, in my stupidity or whatever it is, I actually believe this to be the truth of life. I had seen my grandparents like this. Everybody who I had seen around me, mostly people in India, old people, they're like this. This is how you see. So this is what I believe, that it will even happen to me. This is the first time that I actually saw a possibility that at 80, you can be like this. I took a photograph of that woman. Her name is Kalman. And that lady, she's an Australian. I still have her photo on my computer. I saved it. I promised myself that day that if I live up to 80, this is how I want to be. And I saved it. It took me one more year or something to really start exploring. And that is what created curiosity. And then I began a yoga class, which was happening in my condo. And it made me feel good. It was a very feel good kind of practice. I did that for some time. And then my friend introduced me to Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga. And it was the way it was delivered to me. So someone like me who was not physically oriented at all actually took up the most intensive form of yoga practice in terms of physical demands. Ashtanga Vinyasa is an physically intensive practice. So for the first 3 years of my yoga life, I was only doing Ashtanga Vinyasa, and it was the way it was delivered to me. It was not delivered to me as an exercise. It was delivered to me as that this could be your prayer too. That every time you are moving on the mat and you're breathing, you are just aligning yourself to grace. You're aligning yourself to divinity. I think this was a very beautiful way to look at something. Somehow, I think it gave me the energy to stay on the mat for 2 hours, 3 hours and practice. I mean, everybody around me was surprised. I was the most surprised that I could actually sustain this. My family had never seen me like this. And I'll tell you, Monica, what 3 years of gymming didn't do to me. 10 months of yoga practice made the magic happen. I actually started gymming after my pregnancy because I was going through health issues, too much headache, weakness in the body, energy was low. So my husband pushed me, saying, go, do something for the body. Otherwise, you're too young to be facing these kind of issues. And my, all that post-pregnancy fat melted away. I also in that time got initiated into a Kriya practice called Sudarshan Kriya by Sri Ravi Shankar, and began to practice Kriya. I began to notice things which were going wrong in the morning began to set themselves straight by evening. I could experience grace in my life. My tendencies began to shift. So I have shared this often with people who come to my class. I used to be a non-vegetarian. I never put it in my head that I'm not going to eat non-veg or I will do this, that, nothing. In fact, I said, I'm going to eat whatever the hell I want because now I do so much workout. I'm practicing so much. Everything should be taken care of. And my tendency shifted. I began to get drawn to salads. Non-veg left me. I have not bitten into meat in so many years now. It's been 11 years. It's just left me. So these were very amazing transformations that simply by moving the body in a certain way, simply by breathing in a certain way, shifts began to happen in the body. And when I was working with my instructor, she used to tell me, okay, this meal, you have to wait for this much time, then eat this much. The whole damn day I was thinking about food. Here I was, just do your practice, everything else falls in place. So this was very liberating and freeing that, all I have to do is do my practice. Everything else was taken care of. My body, my mind, my energy, my life, everything got taken care of. So yes, that is my journey into yoga. Late bloomer.
But thank you. Our town is we are already seeing your healing effects, right? So many people need you. And this is already like a blessing to our town. What your knowledge is, everyone is benefiting from it now. So thanks to you. You learned and now you are passing it on to
yoga
others.
is so beautiful. Everybody should explore it. When these things began to happen to me, Monica, I was pulling my brother, father, husband, everybody and saying, you must do this. So because something so beautiful happened to me, I had to make this happen for others.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's go on to our next question. How are meditation and yoga related? These days, we have a lot of mental health issues. What kind of impact does a yoga and meditation intervention have on students' stress and anxiety levels.
Okay. So see, Monica, these days we are using the word yoga very loosely. We use yoga to mean asana practice, mat practice, maybe some pranayam practice or silent sitting practice, and this we call yoga. This is a loose usage of the word. As teachers, we've also started using this because people don't understand if you explain it in, say, technically correct way. But yoga is a discipline. It is actually one of the 6 darshana philosophies of India. It's the practical school of the Indian philosophical system. And so the discipline of yoga has 8 limbs, what we call as Ashtanga yoga. That's why it's called Ashtanga yoga, 8 limbs. There are 8 aspects to this discipline which can bring a person into a state of yoga. A state of yoga rises within you, a state of greater freedom at its basic level, and at its deepest and highest level, this can be self-realization or liberation, mukti, which is held highest in our culture. But at its most basic level for us, it is about freedom from the compulsions of my mind. My mind is not unnecessarily chattering. My mind and body begin to take instructions from me. So then yoga is rising within us. So this is the discipline of yoga. Now the 8 aspects of this discipline, meditation is one of the aspects. So there are first couple of aspects which deal with relationship with others. How should I be with myself? Purification practices, which we call yama, niyama. Then there is asana, which is posture, pranayama, breathing practices, pratyahara, withdrawal of senses. So it's about how should you be, how should you manage your body. Then from pratyahara, how you withdraw your senses, you move into pranayama, which is taking charge of your breath and taking charge of your mind. Then you go into dharana, which is the power of concentration, building the capacity of the mind. And from there, you move into a state called dhyana, which is meditation. And that prepares you for a state of samadhi, which is self-realization. So most of us, we are really doing a practice of dharana, concentration. If concentration becomes uninterrupted, one falls into a state of meditation. So let's understand meditation. What does meditation mean? One becomes meditative. Through certain practices, one can become a more meditative human being, which means right now, if I'm feeling stressed and anxious, what it means that everything is like just binding me so tightly, and I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling very bound, I'm feeling very chained. It's like I can't create a little bit of space between what surrounds me and where I am. Correct? If I can just create a little bit of space, what surrounds me and where I am, meditation happens. This becomes a meditative state. Then what is happening on the outside does not have such impact on my mental states. There's a state of relief. I can handle my situations very competently then. So this is meditation. Okay, this is a state that we fall in. It's about keeping a little bit of distance with what surrounds us. Yes, it is very helpful today if you do breathing practices, if you are doing yoga asana practices, they have a way to settle the energy. See, there is a lot of movement inside the system, human system. So, for example, if you do forward bends, all forward bends are very soothing and calming, and they create deep release. Tension is locked in the body, knowingly or unknowingly. And the way the asana is designed or modified for a person's unique body type, it can help to release and improve the flow of energy. That is why people experience, it happens to you, after a yoga class, you just feel a little bit, how does it happen? Because your energy was made to move, it was removed from those blocked places and made to move and circulate, and a little bit of space got created. You feel a little bit more meditative. Meditation, it's also degrees of meditative states in each one of us. So that's how anxiety level drops. Relief happens, and then clarity happens. Once things are a little bit away, you can see clearly. If clarity happens, you make good decisions. If you're not clear, how will you make good decisions? You don't even know what is what. So
absolutely,
that is why even at a basic level, forget about self-realization. Even if you want to live a life which is, your best life, regular worldly life, it's good to have clarity. Even simple meditation practices will help you with that. And yes, definitely, it calms anxiety. It will help with all those issues, both asana and meditation and breathing practices. Don't think I will just meditate. It doesn't work like that. The energy in the body is frittering. You have to move the body in certain ways, settle it down,